What's up everyone, and welcome back to the Bold and the Beautiful 24 official channel. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button today. Let's get started. Liam rushed back to emergency surgery. Grace insists on operating. The Bold and the Beautiful reveal that Liam Spencer will be rushed back to emergency surgery, but it looks like Grace Buckingham will insist on operating this time around. After Liam was wheeled into the hospital with a gunshot wound, Grace wanted to take the lead since he's her patient. Unfortunately, would have meant waiting for another doctor to arrive for Sheila Sharp's own procedure. John Finn Finnegan didn't want to delay things, so he pushed Grace to help Sheila while he worked on Liam instead. Although Finn removed the bullet and saved Liam's life, he's not out of the woods yet. There's always the risk of post-op complications, especially since Liam's already been dealing with additional health issues. Steffi Forrester made the observation that Liam hasn't been strong in a long time. It's not like Liam was at the top of his game going into this ordeal since he's suffering from an inoperable brain tumor. Liam has been weak, so that could play a role in what comes next on BNB. It appears Liam will have a setback in his recovery since he'll have to return to the operating room during the week of July 14th to 18th. Grace will insist on handling Liam's next surgery, which makes sense considering she's bizarrely passionate about his treatment. Even before all this shooting mayhem played out, Grace got pretty intense about Liam's tumor situation. Finn pointed out that it was up to Liam whether he wanted to risk side effects and a lower quality of life in the time he had left. However, Grace was downright pushy about trying to get Liam into a combination of chemo and radiation. Of course, the priority has now become getting Liam through this shooting-related crisis. Liam has to survive the aftermath of his Luna Nozawa showdown before he can do anything else. Grace will move forward with Liam's next round of emergency surgery and know there's a lot riding on it. Bill Spencer will know that too, along with Liam's other loved ones, as they anxiously await updates on whether he's going to make it. The Bold and the Beautiful say Liam will thankfully emerge from the or alive once again, but there's still plenty of shocking news to come in this storyline. Liam Spencer wakes up and doesn't remember anyone? The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers hint that Scott Clifton isn't going anywhere this week, but it's going to be a wild road to recovery for his character Liam Spencer. Not only did Liam just take a bullet from Luna Nozawa, he's fighting an aggressive tumor and only had days to live before he was shot. Dr. John Finnegan's patient may beat both battles, but that doesn't mean Liam will come out the same man his friends and family knew. As a matter of fact, he might not know any of them at all. Finn and Bridget race to save Liam. It's been quite a while since anyone on The Bold and the Beautiful suffered from amnesia. Fans are about due for a crazy memory loss storyline. Liam Spencer really is the perfect candidate seeing as how he was just shot and has been battling cancer. Word on the internet is that Finn and Bridget Forrester could pull off a miracle and successfully remove the tumor or cure the cancer while operating on his gunshot wound. The science behind it doesn't make any sense, but when it comes to medical and legal stories on the daytime show, The Bold and the Beautiful tends to stretch the truth. However, there will be a catch if Scott Clifton's character is saved. Liam Spencer loses his memory. According to Bold and the Beautiful rumors, Liam Spencer may experience severe amnesia upon awakening. If Finn and the doctors have to remove anything from Liam's skull, there's a chance that they could also remove crucial parts of his brain with the tumor that affect his memory. Could Liam wake up on and not even remember Steffi Forrester or Hope Logan, Annika Noel? Or even worse, could he wake up and think that he is still married to one of his ex-wives? Wyatt Spencer returns, declares war on Dad for Liam's shooting? Liam Spencer's friends and family on The Bold and the Beautiful are holding vigil at the hospital and waiting to see if he wakes up. Is Wyatt Spencer on his way back to Los Angeles to be at his half-brother's side? Here's what's coming up next on the CBS soap. Keep reading for all the details. Liam Spencer needs his half-brother. After Luna Nozawa shot Dollar Bill's son, he was raced to the hospital and underwent emergency surgery. It's time for Wyatt Spencer to return and advocate for his brother, since Bill clearly shouldn't be responsible to make any life or death decisions these days. In point of fact, Luna Nozawa's initial rampage of violence was technically Dollar Bill's to blame. When Bill Spencer helped Luna get released from prison and put the convicted killer back on the streets, he put everyone in Los Angeles' lives in danger, including his own sons. If Bill had let the Il Giardino killer sit behind bars where she belonged, none of this would have happened and Liam wouldn't be fighting for his life in the emergency room. Bill will be approached at the hospital by Liam Spencer's family, according to spoilers for Bold and the Beautiful. Ridge Forrester will even reignite their old beef after he learns his former rival almost got his daughter and grandson Hayes killed. When Wyatt Spencer returns, he will be horrified when he learns the shooter was set loose by his own dad. Someone has to pay for Luna's crimes. Legally, there's no way Bill Spencer can be held responsible for Luna's crimes. But, B&B spoilers hint Wyatt will be on a mission to get revenge for Liam, even if it means going after his own father. Rumor has it when Liam does wake up, he may not be able to walk or remember anyone. If Liam is paralyzed, that will only infuriate his brother more and make revenge even more necessary. The sterile hospital corridors buzzed with a chaotic undercurrent as the flashing red lights of the emergency wing illuminated the tension in every face gathered outside the operating room, and while Liam Spencer's fate hung by a thread, the pulse of every character on The Bold and the Beautiful mirrored the urgency of what was unfolding behind those double doors. Liam, who had already survived the trauma of a gunshot wound and undergone an intense life-saving procedure at the skilled hands of Dr. John Finn Finnegan, was now once again being prepped for emergency surgery after post-operative complications sent his condition spiraling. His weakened vitals, the mystery bleeding, and the haunting reality that he had been suffering from an inoperable brain tumor even before the shooting, making him a man teetering at death's doorstep far too many times in 1 week, as loved ones like Steffi Forrester, Bill Spencer, and Hope Logan paced and prayed outside with their hearts in their throats. Desperate for another miracle, but this time, it wouldn't be Finn leading the charge inside the OR. Instead, Dr. Grace Buckingham, with that fierce intensity that bordered on obsessive when it came to Liam's care, stepped forward with a jarring insistence that she, and only she, would handle this critical operation, a demand that stunned everyone, including the seasoned surgical team who had just seen Finn successfully remove a bullet from Liam's abdomen not even 48 hours ago, but Grace, never one to shy away from confrontation, and always guided by a fervent, almost personal attachment to Liam's well-being, argued that she had a deeper understanding of the complications involved given his pre-existing tumor, his recent treatment options, and the psychological component to his physical decline, and while Finn hesitated, concerned about dividing the team and the risks of a second invasive procedure so soon, he ultimately allowed Grace to take the lead, hoping her expertise and conviction would be the salvation Liam needed. And as they wheeled him into surgery, the atmosphere was thick with dread, the shadow of Liam's tumor hanging over every decision like an omen, and outside, Bill Spencer was visibly shaken, gripping the wall with both hands as he whispered guilt-laced regrets under his breath, blaming himself for the cascade of chaos that had led to his son lying unconscious on a gurney once again, because everyone knew this never would have happened if Luna Nozawa hadn't pulled that trigger, and Luna, well, she never would have been out of prison if Bill hadn't lobbied for her early release. Using all his influence and resources to give her a second chance, a decision that now felt like a curse, especially to Ridge Forrester, who wasted no time confronting Bill the moment the dust settled, reminding him in no uncertain terms that this wasn't just about Liam, it was about Steffi, about Hayes, about every life Bill had endangered by setting a known killer free. And the emotional stakes only climbed higher when Wyatt Spencer, Liam's half-brother, rushed into the hospital after hearing the news, his face contorted with disbelief and fury as he absorbed the gruesome reality. His brother had been shot, twice operated on, and could very well come out of surgery unable to walk, talk, or even remember who he was, and when Wyatt learned the full story, that Bill, their own father, had been the one who unwittingly set this chain of tragedy in motion, he nearly exploded with rage, vowing then and there to make someone pay, not legally perhaps, but emotionally, because Wyatt Spencer was not about to sit by and watch his brother fade into oblivion while the man who caused it all continued living without consequence. And back inside the OR, Grace Buckingham worked with surgical precision, her hands steady despite the tension, her brow furrowed in concentration as she navigated the complex and dangerous terrain of Liam's fragile body, noting swelling, inflammation, and pressure around the tumor site that concerned her deeply. This wasn't just post-op bleeding, this was a rapidly escalating neurological issue, and she made the swift, irreversible decision to relieve cranial pressure, a risky maneuver that involved removing a portion of Liam's skull near the tumor, not just to stabilize him but to buy him more time, a bold choice that could save his life or alter his brain forever. And as the clock ticked past midnight, those in the waiting area hung on every footstep, every beep, every movement of the OR doors, and eventually, Grace emerged, blood on her gloves, exhaustion in her eyes, and gave the only update she could muster. Liam was alive for now, but sedated, with swelling on the brain, and they'd have to wait to see if he'd regain consciousness, let alone full cognitive function. And as Bill sank into a chair, face in his hands, Wyatt took a slow, ominous step toward his father and said in a low voice, "You don't get to play the grieving dad, not this time." Before turning his attention back to the OR, praying Liam would recognize him if he ever opened his eyes again, and when he finally did, hours later, amid a quiet hum of machines and the distant murmur of nurses, Liam's confused gaze scanned the room, unblinking, as Steffi leaned forward with tears in her eyes and whispered his name, but there was no flicker of recognition, no warmth, only bewilderment, and when Hope stepped in behind her, holding a picture of Beth and softly calling Liam, Daddy, the horror in his expression confirmed the unthinkable. He didn't remember them. Not Steffi, not Hope, not Wyatt, not even himself, and doctors were quick to diagnose retrograde amnesia, likely a result of both the gunshot trauma and the emergency cranial procedure, and while the news shattered everyone in the room, it seemed to electrify Grace Buckingham, who saw this as an opportunity, not to exploit, but to rebuild, to guide Liam through this next phase of recovery with the same fire that had driven her to fight so hard for his life in the first place. And as summer in Los Angeles rolled forward, the saga only deepened. Rumors flew that Bridget Forrester would return to assist Finn in Liam's long-term neurological therapy, leading to unexpected clashes between Grace and Bridget over methodology, ethics, and personal stakes, while Wyatt, still incensed, launched his own private investigation into how Luna Nozawa got out of prison, determined to uncover what backdoor deals Bill Spencer had pulled, and what other favors might have been traded to silence opposition, but the legal trail ran cold, and so Wyatt turned his sights on Luna herself, visiting her in jail in a tense showdown that revealed she had no memory of pulling the trigger, raising even more questions about who really orchestrated Liam's shooting, and whether another player in the tangled world of the Forresters and Spencers had manipulated the situation behind the scenes, and through it all, Liam remained a ghost of himself, staring out the hospital window with no knowledge of the complicated web of love triangles.